Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's Casting Call. I'm Matt. This is Michael. We're talking about a beloved video game series today. Let's do this. So this episode of Casting Call is going to be slightly different because, believe it or not, the two of us actually agree on who we're going to cast. I know that's kind of rare that me and him actually agreeing on something. So when we were discussing this, we were thinking about Knights of the Old Republic 1 and Knights of the Old Republic 2 and a potential Knights of the Old Republic 3 that might be coming down the pipeline. But because we're limited with the amount of content we got, we are just going to concentrate on casting one movie, and that's all the main players, villains and good guys from the first game, Knights of the Old Republic. So I'm going to throw it out there, Michael, and you can talk about the first one, and that is the character of Carth, because that's the first guy that we meet in the game.
Carth Onasi, yeah. So what were your thoughts on this one when we were discussing this?
Well, my original choice was going to be Casey Affleck.
Why?
Because of the hair.
Because his hair looks like the characters.
I don't know. I just feel like his hair game. If there's a reason to pick someone to play Carth, it's definitely those luscious bangs.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever remembered Casey Affleck playing a soldier though. Whereas our pick has played soldiers in multiple movies. And it's roughly the same age as Casey, and around about the same age as
but this is the thing that why we kind of came to a consensus on most of these, because a lot of our picks were just really visual picks. Like we were like, this is how the character looks, and this is the closest actor we could find to the way they look. And so when we actually discussed it, more unlike our other episodes of Casting Call, there was very little like. No, I don't see that. It was like every time I give you an alternative, you were like, huh, yeah, actually. And every time you gave me an alternative, I was like, oh, yeah, actually.
The one thing for me, and this is when it comes to casting games, is I think the look of the actor compared towards the character of the game is extremely important. Because that's who you've played as. It's not like in a book where it's a written description, or even there is no description and you have to fill it in with your mind. This is actually somebody you've seen on the screen, even in janky effects.
Well, I'd take it a little further than that and say that there is actually almost a mandate to make sure you do match them visually. Because an actor who's given a different medium to work with will make the character their own. It's like books.
Yeah.
Like Ian McKellen, for instance, plays Gandalf in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and the Gandalf that he plays is very different from the Gandalf we have in the books.
Yes.
But we fell in love with him all the same because of how well he portrayed that character. So I feel like when you're taking especially video games, which is another visual medium, you have to be very faithful to that look first. So I think it's 20% look, 20% acting chops, and then the remaining 60% is whether or not you can see that actor playing that role.
Yeah, and I think that's what's been the problem with past video game adaptations. They've just tried to do that. They've just tried to adapt a video game. Now, I understand trying to adapt Super Mario because the game of Super Mario doesn't have much storyline. Mm-hmm. But, like, if you were to make a Resident Evil movie, let's say, if you're going to reboot that, what I didn't understand with the Resident Evil movies was why they changed the story. The reason the games are so popular is because of storytelling. So if they're going to make this...
Well, no. Games are good because of gameplay first. No, that's why you play a game. Did you play Super Mario because of the story, or did you play it because of the gameplay?
I played Resistance, and that came out at the same time as Gears of War. And the actual gameplay was clunky, but the story was good.
I don't know. Resistance is pretty good gameplay-wise.
Not compared to Gears of War.
But the number one thing about a game is the gameplay needs to be... That's what it is. It's video.
The thing is, you immerse yourself.
I get you.
Into that.
I'm not saying that it's not important. Isn't story? Story is very important, especially with a role-playing game. I'm just saying gameplay needs to be a factor because the gameplay of KOTOR is a little bit clunky.
Yes.
You wouldn't make a game like that these days.
No.
But it was perfectly well adjusted to allow you to role play. Mm-hmm. It's how the gameplay was designed. Most of the combat in that game is a little weak. Not terrible, no. I still enjoy
compared to modern day stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But as far as your exploration,
interacting with people, objects, places. The conversation, I want to call it the conversation wheel, like we have a Mass Effect, but it's not. It's like a list of conversation. All of that is gameplay.
Oh, you could tell the Mass Effect was so obvious in their next development.
Well, yeah, it was a BioWare game. So gameplay is absolutely the main thing. If the gameplay needs to be good enough that the story complements the gameplay.
And the story,
because if the story's great and the gameplay is absolutely atrocious and unpassable, then the story's not going to save it. And a good classic example of this would be another BioWare game, Mass Effect Andromeda. The gameplay is phenomenal. Yeah. The gameplay is the best in the series. The stories, for most people, I actually don't mind the story, to be honest, but the story for most people is very weak.
But we can agree that video game adaptations that haven't followed the game stories is probably the number one reason why they fail.
I think it's mostly characters. If you'd have told the same story in Resident Evil and just done away with Alice and made it about Chris and Jill, and had a similar sort of situation where not necessarily the Umbrella commandos were sent in, but the Raccoon Police were sent in to see what happened. Maybe there was an emergency call, and then pretty much follow the same sort of beats. That film could have been fine, but it lost people because it went away from the characters.
I understand them going away from the story as well.
Well, we're going away from the story right now, so let's
just go back to that. Let me just finish my thought though. I can understand them going away from the story once they've told the story from the games and there is no source material. Then you come up with your own. But to do it off the bat, that's why I think they fail.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, back to Carth. So we discussed.
Well, who did you pick first? Because you went with the lookalike to the guy we went with.
So I picked Tobey Maguire from Spider-Man 3 with the flowing locks.
His hair game.
And drew him as Carthanassi. But then it got us both thinking, somebody who looks just like Tobey Maguire, but I personally think is a better actor.
And is still acting as well.
And I've seen him play soldiers before in Source Code and Jughead, is Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
And again, what we found when we've casted any of these video games into movies is all the movie actors. These films are going to cost us billions of dollars.
Yeah, but there's also the fact that we're using our pool of 50 actors that we know as well.
Well, no, we mentioned Jake Gyllenhaal.
But we've recycled a few in this one. So let's move on to another. Let's.
Who do you meet next?
I think we should have gone from bottom to top on this list.
Well, I was just thinking about the game because you meet Carth straight away.
Yeah, but we're also. We need Revan to be last, because technically Revan is the first one you meet.
So we'll leave Revan to last, but
let's go on to Calo Nord, because we can burn through him really quickly. So we just wanted someone who... Yeah, we just wanted someone who is just a stereotypical journeyman villain, and I was thinking the comedian from Watchmen, and talking, of course, about Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Yeah, and he has to be believable as somebody that would be chasing down our heroes throughout the movie.
I'm also thinking of his character Negan from Walking Dead. I think he fits in perfectly, and he's got that attitude of I don't give a shit, that jovial sort of like don't fuck with me attitude.
Yeah, his character as Colonel Clay in Losers as well, similar kind of thing. Lots of bravado, very sure of himself, and could easily seen taking out 4 bad guys by counting to 3.
And it's funny because actually Calo Nord is the next one we meet on that list, other than Bastila.
Yeah.
Oh no, we do meet Calo before Bastila. We don't meet Bastila until after we've met, because after Calo we meet Mission.
Okay. Oh, then Mission then. So we threw around a lot of actresses here because Mission is a young character, but again
we know that child actors can be a little bit weird.
Yeah, and we also know that in the games it's an age range. They never really nail down an age. So our very first thought was Millie Bobby Brown.
Yeah.
Is that the name?
But realistically, it's because I remember that at the time it's the only teenage actor I could think of. And I was thinking more so a personality that we get from her in press junkets and promotions and on Late Show and stuff like that. As far as acting's concerned, I think Millie Bobby Brown has yet to impress me. She works, I guess, in Stranger Things. She's playing this really weird, awkward character, but it's everything else I've seen her in. She's this weird, awkward character.
Yeah, whereas I don't see Mission as a weird, awkward.
Mission is she's witty, she's fun, she's friendly,
and she hangs out with
Zaalbar,
yeah. And obviously, we're just going to go with the same Wookiee that played Chewbacca in.
Well, you get a tall guy, or you get the guy who now plays Chewie.
Yeah.
And then you've got Wookiee noises.
So
we don't need to worry about that one. But
no.
with Mission, we went to like Chloe Grace Moretz. We went to all of these young actors who are now a little older, but could still probably fit into that late teen bracket. And we went to Ellie Fanning. And then we thought to ourselves, well, why not Dakota Fanning?
Why not get the better actress?
She's the better actor of the two. It's just she's not really doing much anymore,
and she still looks extremely young.
And the movie Push, the character she plays in that movie is basically Mission.
That's what when we mentioned it, that's what the role I thought of, because a lot of people think of when they think of Dakota Fanning, go straight to Runaways, whereas for me the first thing I saw her in was War of the Worlds, where she's I don't think she was given a lot.
First thing I saw her in was I Am Sam.
I can't even remember that movie.
Yeah, she's like, I think she's only like 6 years old in that.
But definitely in Push with Chris Evans, she leads. She's a co-lead with Chris Evans, and that's a big presence on screen to co-lead with, especially with adult and child, because I think she was 15 when she filmed that.
Yeah, but she's also this self-sufficient street rat type kid as well. Perfect casting in my opinion.
So Dakota Fanning was definitely the better choice there. So now
we've already established that Zaalbar will just be Wookiee noises with a big tall dude.
The guy who played Chewie in Solo. Yeah. You've got a recurring gig as a Wookiee.
Well, he plays him in Last Jedi and in
there you go then. So
I wanted to say Revenge of the Sith, Rise of Skywalker. Who do we meet
next on our adventures?
So on Telos, that is pretty much it. We do come across Malak and Saul in the cutscene that takes place before we get off of Telos, but Bastila would be the next one, because Bastila I
want to leave Malak until we talk about Malak and Revan together.
The last person we meet on Telos would be Bastila, because that's the whole point of that planet, is to meet. We're there to save her from the swoop gangs.
This is weird that in my Mandela effect of my brain, I think back of when I played this when it first came out. I thought I was on Telos for like hours and hours and hours of gameplay, but it's not really that long.
Well, I guess it all depends really, because again, standard of the time. Because I felt the same way, and every subsequent playthrough, it gets less and less and less in your memory. Well, because you're also you're familiar with the game now. You know how to do it. It's kind of like World of Warcraft, for instance. The first time you go into Molten Core, it takes you like a week.
Now you speed running 45 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. So,
and the funny thing about Bastila is how many iterations did we come through? I think you mentioned 3 actors. I went through 3 or 4 actors.
I started off with Emily Blunt.
Yeah. And I started off with I forgot her name now. Natalie Dormer.
Yeah, and I wanted someone a little younger, because I want her to be this. I'm the best. I'm cocky. I want her to be this young. Thinks she can take on the world. Thinks no one can stop her. Flawed person who will eventually be defeated and be turned to the dark side, and we actually ended up settling on.
Well, the funny thing was we were throwing these backwards and forwards, and then all of a sudden we near enough both looked at each other and said at the same time after we were discussing Malak.
Yeah.
I'm gonna butcher her name.
No, Anya Chalotra.
Is it Chalotra?
Anya Chalotra
from The Witcher.
Yes. She plays Yennefer of Vegenberg.
Yeah, and I think she's a perfect fit for it.
It's the attitude. Like, her character of Yennefer, just like play the same person.
Very, very well. Space wizard as opposed to Witcher wizard.
And again, headstrong, thinks that she's the best at everything, thinks she can take on the world. Chooses to turn on the teachings of her order to go become a lone wolf. Although she gets turned to the dark side is the analog to that. Yeah. I don't know. She kind of reminds me of Jennifer Hale voice wise as well.
Yeah, I could see that. Let's quickly touch on the two droids. Obviously, both going to be CGI'd. One's just going to make beep noises. But what about HK-47, a fan-loved character?
Well, if you can get the voice actor to play him.
I think that's exactly what you do. If he's
still alive.
If he's still able to do the voice. If not, what voice actor would you bring in?
Would it be interesting if you got, like, Anthony Daniels to play him, but you got Anthony Daniels to play, like, an HK-47 role instead?
An evil C3PO.
Yeah, that would be... Because that's what I always thought when I first come across HK-47. I was like, oh, it's evil C-3PO.
But I love how he would throw him under the bus any second. He's like Bender.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't get Frank Lamar to pay.
Well, but the funny thing about HK units is that they always qualify what they're about to say with a qualifying statement.
Well,
So-
I'd like to go with a voice actor who is actually more of a body actor, but it's the way his voice would sound. And I think it would, what?
A body actor.
Yeah, so he's known for doing roles where he kind of manipulates his body.
Are you talking about Doug Jones?
Doug Jones, yeah. I think Saru's voice with a bit of auto-tune, especially with how deadpan he can play his voice, I think would be a good voiceover.
Possibly.
And he could mocap him as well.
Anyway, moving on.
Okay, moving on. So we're now going to...
Let's say we go in the order that I went when I first played. We go to Kashyyyk next.
All right.
Oh, no, actually, no, we go to Dantooine.
I went to Dantooine.
No, you have no choice but to go to Dantooine next. That's where you go.
Yeah, you have to go to
because that's where the Jedi Academy is. So we have no choice but to pick Juhani next.
Okay, so Juhani, I threw out a really funny one because Michael's not seen this film yet, but Juhani has kind of cat-like features. So I threw out Kristen Wiig, considering what character she just played in Wonder Woman 84, where she turns into a fucking cat.
Yeah.
But
that's kind of the case, though, of it's like it's recent in your memory. You're really picking her because she's recent.
Because she looked like a cat.
But it don't matter. You can make anyone look like a cat. But that means you're going to pick all of the actors from the movie adaptation of Cats.
No, because there's nothing good about that.
No, I haven't seen it, so I don't know.
But then I suggested...
Well, I went with... My choice was going to be someone a little older, but I lamented it. I was like, I wanted to pick Michelle Yeoh. I just felt like... someone who's already got the skills to fight. We've seen her in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and what she can do. I feel like playing a Jedi would be right up her alley. But I do think she's probably past that now, especially considering she's working on Star Trek. I don't see her going into Star Wars.
Yeah.
So it's unrealistic to pick Michelle Yeoh.
Well, I then went on to when you said Michelle Yeoh in action, I thought of Mackenzie Davis from the latest Terminator movie. Tall, blonde hair, very good physical shape to do the stunts, and she did a lot of the stunts on Dark Fate herself. But then we both settled on an actress that's in a TV show, so a TV actress.
A TV series that we both love.
Yeah, and that is Cara G from The Expanse.
Mm-hmm.
For several reasons. One, she's definitely got the look. I think because you could just use slight prosthetics to get the alien look of Juhani. She could just do a belter accent.
It's just a humanoid body.
Yeah, but she has like
it's just facial prosthetics, a little bit catty looking. That's all, a little feline looking.
To me, it all all go practical. Mm-hmm. But like we discussed, she could just do a belter accent.
I also like the idea of Juhani being, she's a tortured soul essentially in Knights of the Old Republic who believes that she,
especially if you kill her.
Well, she believed that she killed her master, and so as a result, she felt that means that she had to she'd fallen to the dark side, and so we're tasked to go save her from the dark side, and even once we save her from the dark side, and we let her know, it's like, no, look, your master didn't die, she survived. She then spends the rest of her time wanting to be with Revan as a means to redeem herself moving forward, and I see the character of Kamina Drummer almost like the stoic strength and headfast and sturdiness of Kamina Drummer. I see being able to really be adapted to take on the role of Juhani quite easily.
Yeah, so that's why we went with Cara G. So now we go to Kashyyyk to make
yeah, sure.
Jolee first?
Well, none of the other planets have characters we meet now. other than Kashyyyk. Kashyyyk is where we meet the last member of our party, who is Jolee Bindo.
Jolee Bindo, and we discussed a lot of different actors for this, and there are a lot out there. Like I think you mentioned Will Smith, but that would be the entire budget for the film. Plus, I don't think he'd play a side character.
No,
but
we know from his attitude on the set of Suicide Squad that he's not a good fit for an ensemble cast.
No, he wants the what's the word I'm looking for?
He wants the spotlight,
the limelight. Yeah,
the spotlight.
But then we did decide. I'm just checking my facts here. The funny thing was, we did decide because of his behavior on Suicide Squad, we would cast his replacement, Idris Elba.
And I just, as soon as you mentioned him, I was like, I hadn't thought. I was like, oh God, he fits the role like a glove.
And we know
the character of Jolee just now, I can't not see Idris Elba.
Well, and we also know that Idris Elba is a very humble guy. He's not worried about having to have that star billing. He played Heimdall in the MCU.
That's who I saw when you said it. I've seen Heimdall playing Jolee.
Yeah.
Just like this, standing with his sword, except it's a lightsaber. I just like, oh yeah, that's it. Idris Elba, Jolee Bindo.
So
I could see as well Idris Elba having a moment on the Ebon Hawk, sat down with Revan after he's found out he's Revan. And spoiler alert. And having this heart-to-heart,
ruined the climax of the show.
Having this heart-to-heart, almost in the same vein as Shepard Buck talking with Malcolm Reynolds on Serenity and whatnot. I just see Idris Elba in that role, and it's honestly, out of all of them, it's the one I'm most excited about.
Okay, so that was once we'd mentioned that, it was like we couldn't see anything else. So now we've got two extra side characters to talk about before we come on to the big two. Let's go with Sol Carth.
It's a no-brainer. Because Sol Carth, I thought when I played the game, was like, it's Lucius Malfoy.
Yeah.
So Jason Isaacs.
Yeah. And
Jason Isaacs as Lucius Malfoy playing Sol Carth.
See, as soon as you mentioned it, I agreed, but I thought of it more as Lorca.
Yeah.
Rather than, because Lucius Malfoy is a bit more
diabolical.
Yes, snidey.
No, okay, but that's Sol Carth is. He's snidey, he's diabolical, he's a weasel who betrayed his people, just like Lucius Malfoy did.
But that's just exactly what Lorca does. He's a usurper.
Maybe Jason Isaacs is just that kind of person. I don't know. Because the only thing I remember him as being a nice good guy is in Event Horizon.
Yeah, he's the doctor.
And he gets flayed.
He gets strung up. Yeah, so Jason Isaac was...
Isaacs.
I did want to use... I always forget his name. Davos Seaworth. I thought that first.
Liam Cunningham. He's too much of a teddy bear. He's just too nice. I can't see him as a villain.
Except he's the bad guy in Dog Soldiers, and he's brilliant in that. That's where I saw
it. If you go to reference for someone is the movie Dog Soldiers, you've already failed.
If you've not seen Dog Soldiers, it's the best werewolf movie out there. Werewolf movie out there. So then that leaves us with one other, and that's the chiseled battle veteran Canderous.
I forgot we meet him on Telos.
Yeah. And
how did I forget about the Mandalorian?
The funny thing here about Canderous is we threw loads of people out there. You wanted Stephen Lang,
which is a popular choice apparently, because I didn't see any of the Reddit articles. I picked Stephen Lang, and then when you were arguing with me about that, I went on Reddit to go look up, see what other people said. I'm like, everyone's picking Stephen Lang. What the hell?
Because we mentioned Ron Perlman as well. I just think they're getting a little long in the tooth, because Mandalorians do live a little longer, but then they're also still badass into their old age. So I threw this out to you, and the thing that got me thinking about this guy was Cable, Deadpool 2, Josh Brolin.
And Thanos.
Yeah, but Cable is Canderous.
The purple-faced ballsack chin.
Ballsack chin. No, but if you think about Cable, the character, he's a battle, war-torn, family-lost soldier.
Oh, yeah, no. You don't need to convince me. As soon as you said it, like every single time one of us recommended something contrary to what we were picking, it was like
the only kind of one where we had a real kind of... I had to get you on side was who we're going to talk about now, and that's Malak.
And the only reason is not because I don't see him as Malak, or because I think he can play the role, or because he's a good actor, but mostly because I'm a little concerned that he's typecast.
And I don't see being in one Netflix series as typecasting you, because to me he's not typecast as The Witcher.
As a humongous fan of the novels,
Yeah.
and a humongous fan of The Witcher, I have to say, like, he is basically my Geralt of Rivia, and we're talking, of course,
of Henry Cavill. And to me at the moment, if you say he's typecast, to me he's Superman.
No, I don't, because I think he's trying to distance himself from DC as much as he possibly can.
I think so. But also I also know actors don't like getting typecast.
Yeah. But I also think as well, though, there's a chance that he tries to do this evil, deep voice. He's going to basically just sound like Geralt of Rivia.
But you take Geralt of Rivia's voice and just put a little bit of auto-tune on it when Malak has his jaw.
Not auto-tune. No, not auto-tune. But you put effects on his voice.
Effect on it. And he's tall, he's big, he's buff. He's just like Malak's physique-wise. He looks good in a cape. So Henry Cavill, it took a while to get you on board with this one, but by the end of it,
well, like I say, for that reason only, it's the only one of all the picks that we agreed on that I was like, yeah, I feel like we might struggle to get him on board.
And the thing is, if we, you never know, it might be a massive Star Wars nerd.
He probably is, and he's a massive video game nerd.
So when we finally,
heck, he's even tied up with rumors right now for playing a character in a possible Mass Effect adaptation.
Did we have him in our Mass Effect casting call?
No, we didn't. Because now that I think about it, it would have been pretty good as Commander Shepard.
No, because our Commander Shepard was the best one.
Yeah,
was Sam Witwer.
It was a good choice. Yeah.
So now we've got our main bad guy. We've got to have somebody that can square off against him, and this was the one.
Well, let me preface this one, because you have to be. Everyone's got a different idea of who this guy is in their own head, because he's the player character, and he's a player character in an RPG that doesn't have any real character traits built into him, other than the fact that you find out you would just happen to be the Dark Lord of the Sith.
Yeah,
it's not like Commander Shepard, for instance, who, even though you're role playing Commander Shepard, he's voiced and has a personality, or one of 3 different kinds of personalities that you can pick. In KOTOR, when you're playing as Revan, or whatever that you choose the name to be, he is you. He's an extension of you. So we had to kind of have a little bit of
and on this one,
a consensus on this one.
Again, I threw this one out there, and it didn't take you as much convincing as Henry Cavill, because after you were like, yeah, actually, he's the guy. And the reason for it was, we've got a lot of people on this list who are stars and well known. This guy is in another. He's in the same.
He's in the Expanse.
He's in the Expanse, and for me personally, he steals the show every time he's on the screen, and he does it by doing very little. I think as a presence on screen, he exudes like confidence, and that's why sometimes I feel he is stealing the scene.
Well, and even if, like, let's say you're a complete light side player, you play your guy as a light side character, there's still the inescapable fact that your light side character was brainwashed to be light side and was at one point an evil, ruthless killer.
And I think most people that play KOTOR the first time, they keep it kind of waving around the middle ground, and then we go back and we play it super evil, super good.
Yeah, but my point being is though we've got a basis of a character who is he is a ruthless Dark Lord killer who turns around and redeems himself and tries to do the good thing,
and then basically lives in the grey area.
And so, who from the Expanse fits that MO?
It's Amos.
Amos Burton.
Yeah,
played by the amazing and the also super enthusiastic Wes Chatham.
And I think when we write scenes with him and Cavill as Malak together, you've got 2 phenomenal stature guys who can really throw down. Like when Henry Cavill fights Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible, you've got this behemoth of a man fighting tiny little Tom Cruise. Yeah. Whereas Wes Chatham and Henry Cavill, basically the right height difference. If you shoot,
yeah, but Wes Chatham he's a little on the short side, but he's ripped. Yeah, like he's built like a brick shit.
Yeah,
house.
If you think about when you play the game, Revan is always slightly shorter than Malak, and
because like I said last night when we were going over this stuff, Malak is the only main character who has his own character model. Everyone else is basically, you've got female humanoid character model, male humanoid character model. Yeah,
and I think it'd be great to give someone like Wes the ability to be a lead in a big action movie. I think he'd.
Could you imagine? Who is it that they apparently were going to get to make a trilogy, their own trilogy? Was it the guys from Game of Thrones, or was it Ryan Johnson?
It was both. D&D and Ryan Johnson were
Well,
both.
let's say one of those two. Let's say Ryan Johnson went up to Wes Chatham and said, "Hey, look, I'm making a trilogy out of the Knights of the Republic game series." He'd be like, "Yep, cheers. Don't know what you want me to play, but I'll do it."
I'll do it, yeah. So there we go. That's it. We've a quick rundown. We got Carlo Nord as Jeffrey Dean Morgan, basically the comedian. Saul Carth as Jason Isaacs, or Lucius Malfoy. Juhani, Kamina drummer, Cara G. Jolee, Idris Elba, Heimdall. So we're basically just plucking characters from other movies.
All of our favourite
Mission, Dakota Fanning from Push. Canderous, Josh Brolin, Cable from Deadpool 2. Carth, Jake Gyllenhaal. I saw the character there from Source Code. I forgot what his character is. Hunters or something.
I saw Donnie Darko.
Yeah. Bastila is Anya Chalotra, so basically just Yennefer out of The Witcher. Then Malak, we got Henry Cavill, so this is the only
Evil
one.
Geralt.
Oh no, that's it. So Henry Cavill is the first one that doesn't have to play a similar character to they've already played. Because even his bad guy in Mission Impossible ain't a Dark Lord of the Sith.
Well, I haven't seen him play like a real antagonist.
No, he does in Mission Impossible.
But like, I'm pretty sure that's forgettable for most people.
And then Wes Chatham gets the lead role and given everything he needs to succeed and be a lead superstar in a movie as the amnesiac / Revan.
I think that's pretty much it. This is the most successful episode of Casting Call to date.
Yeah, but that one was easy. No arguing. We agreed on everything. Right, Disney, make this shit. Although they're making a High Republic. I really hope that they don't delve into any of the KOTOR myth with the High Republic. I hope that's something.
I think making Knights of the Old Republic into a movie is always going to be on the table, and it's always going to be an ace in the hole, even because it's not suggested right now. But there's so many people want it, and so many people have wanted it.
I think they'd have to get the creators of BioWare on board to help with the script. All right, there you have it. Knights of the Old Republic movie, as casted by the two most useless...
The most prolific producers and casting crew in the history of nothing.
Yeah. All right, so there you go. That was a nice, simple casting call for Knights of the Old Republic, BioWare game that we want to see Disney turn into a...
Well, it would be on Disney Plus.
Well, yeah, 'cause cinemas are dead. Turn into a full-length film. If you've liked what you've seen today, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Leave us a comment with your ideas of who you would have as the cast.
And, of course, you agree with us.
No, actually, I want you, if you disagree with us, please tell us in the comments. It's great to have a bit of a discussion. But until next time,
ciao.
See you later.